welcome back to my channel. So this is all alleged and I can't actually believe this, but apparently Meghan and Doria had a full-on physical catfight in Lilibet's nursery over Meghan not including Doria in the naming of her daughter. And she basically said to her, why is it that you haven't acknowledged me even though I play an active role? I'm going to play an active role. You have basically stepped on my shoulders and exploited African Americans, but you are not honoring your African American heritage. So this resulted in a full-on fight. Sources have leaked to the media that Meghan and Doria were overheard by staff late at night a few nights ago in the Montecito mansion having a physical to and fro. So apparently Doria flew across the room screaming and shouting and asking Meghan why wasn't she acknowledged in the naming of her daughter. And she also proceeded allegedly to pick up various toys and soiled nappies. Apparently she slung soiled nappies over at Meghan, and what they have actually said is that it was kind of a muffled, the staff wasn't in the room so they couldn't clearly hear everything that happened, but they could hear them kind of having like this physical to and fro, and they could hear things being smashed, and they could hear like the bells and you know how babies' toys sound being thrown around, and then there was like this tug of war, like a tussling. So the staff also have allegedly said that Meghan proceeded to fight back with her mum, so she apparently hit her back and said that Doria and Thomas are nobodies. And she also went on to say that they are trailer trash, basically. They are lower class, and she feels as though by naming her daughter after Doria or Thomas Markle, or even giving Archie any kind of related name to them, would drag them down, and it will close doors on the children's future, and it will limit their access to higher society and higher opportunity. So they've actually written here, she said that she wants her daughter to be able to move in higher society circles that do not involve anyone from her past. So she doesn't want her children to have anything to do with the Markles, and she also does not want her children to have anything to do with the Raglans, i.e. her African American side, because she feels as though they are too poor. This is what she basically was overheard saying. And apparently Doria proceeded to allegedly lose her mind and was in floods of tears. And she pretty much just packed up her stuff, grabbed a whole load of stuff, and she ran out of the mansion. Meghan apparently shouted that she doesn't want her raggedy ass, this is the language, is what they've written, coming back to take care of baby Lilibet. So she will not be having Doria around anymore. Doria will not be seen. And it's just disgusting, really. And I can definitely see Meghan Markle with her miserable self actually doing this to her own mother. And everyone has asked the question as to why Lilibet hasn't been given any kind of referenced name to her African American heritage, and now we all know why. So the staff apparently have a recording of this exchange, this physical fight, and I don't know if that's in video footage, so we may have that coming out soon, or if it's just a recording of the sound. I think it's more than likely a recording of the sound, as it's not clear as to whether anyone actually got access to the room at the time that they was having this fight in the nursery. And according to more sources, they have allegedly quit their jobs. They haven't actually been specific as to what staff members actually quit their jobs and whether it was the nannies or if it was the cook or the cleaner. I don't know who it was, but it's definitely staff who was on the property at the time. And they have basically said that due to the demanding schedule that Meghan Markle had them under, that they basically have decided to use the footage as currency, because they will get a total of 8 years' pay that they would have gotten working and serving the Harkle Sparkles, right? And it just wasn't worth it. So they'd rather save time and get the cash up front, which is a smart move. That's exactly what I would do. It also goes on to say, and this is from New Idea magazine, staff also alleged that even though Meghan was fighting with her mother, she wasn't in tears or emotional about her leaving. But Doria, however, was witnessed by staff in floods of tears. And we know that Meghan really is kind of like, she's a cold fish, isn't she? And she really doesn't give a damn about anyone but her own financial gain or her own financial well-being or her own well-being. Her and Harry are very selfish, and everything that they've done has been tone deaf in order to get more money and more publicity. Like, they just haven't taken into account any other members of the family's feelings about the way they have conducted themselves and how they're using their money. They've exploited every facet of the royal family in order to get money. So I can imagine that Doria would have been in floods of tears, because she's kept quiet. She had to go to that wedding by herself, which must have been a very awful experience. And she hasn't even been acknowledged in the naming of both her children's names, which is just really tragic. So it continues to say, apparently she was overheard packing her things, and she was saying, "You treat me like a nobody, you treat me like a nobody, you think that I'm a nobody, just like how you did your daddy." So apparently she repeated this about 15 times, just saying, "You treat me like a nobody, you treat me like a nobody," over and over and over again. And that's what people tend to do when they are processing the dexterity of a situation. And I think for her, she was probably processing the dexterity of the cold-heartedness. I just can't believe that Meghan Markle would raise her hands. I mean, this is all alleged, but if this is true, raise her hands to her 62-year-old mother. I mean, Doria's in her 60s now, and have a physical fight with her, fight back. I can't even say try, because allegedly she did fight back. So it continues on here, and apparently Meghan had the staff shred up a custom-made dolly that was gifted to Lilibet by Doria, and she said, "I never want to see it again." And she also had 2 very specifically custom-made designed ornamental rattles that Doria had gifted to her upon the birth of baby Archie, and Lilibet destroyed and discarded of. So she doesn't want any remnants of her mother on the property. And there was also an alleged allegation that apparently she basically, as Doria was driving away from the mansion, she just said, "I don't want to see your raggedy ass again. Don't ring my phone with your raggedy ass, blah, blah, blah." And you can see Meghan just talking like this, can't you? Then it also goes on to say that after this whole debacle, Harry and Meghan were then allegedly overheard, and this was at midnight, all on the same night this went down, talking to their PR firm about their authenticity and how they are going to rebrand themselves now that Doria isn't on the scene, because she was their authenticity card. She was their ace card in order to make themselves look like they're organic, they're happy, they have this wholesome nuclear family with the African-American grandma, making up the baby's pureed carrots and potatoes, and they're all getting along nicely, and her and Meghan are getting up in the morning, and they're doing deep yoga poses, they're getting into the tiger pose, and the rabbit pose, and the cat pose, and whatever poses they do. And they are united and authentic, and they're having a higher quality of life than what they ever could have had over here in the UK, which we know is just simply not true. They just simply didn't want to be here because the money's not here, the bag's not here, and they couldn't sign as many brand deals being stationed in the UK. So all of this is true, but it seems to have all gone wrong. The flames are ablaze, and they are at each other's throats because they've attacked the royal family, they've attacked the Markles, and people who are so toxic and empty and essentially just vacuous black holes will eventually turn in on themselves, and they will also turn in on each other. So even though they're presenting that all is well in paradise, all is not well in paradise, and they are still very miserable. They're the same miserable couple that they always have been. And it's getting worse because now Meghan and Harry only have each other left. And we know that once all lines of communication are officially cut off from the royal family, which they essentially have been, they are going to turn on each other. They're going to turn on themselves. And we can all see this happening. With all that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. These are the latest updates. All is not well in paradise. They're having full out physical fights, and it's scary. I'm quite worried for them, actually. And I'm really worried for the children. I don't know what is going on in that mansion. This is all alleged, you know, it's rumor, speculation, who knows? But I believe that, you know, there's no smoke without fire. And I think that this is what is going on. So I will be back with another video. Bye, guys.